Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever's appropriate for where you are. What you're about to see is a recording of an interview between Dickon Hooper of the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation in Bristol, and myself, which took place on the morning of the 20th of February 2013, beginning just after 9:30 a.m. London time. That's 4:30 a.m. New York or 10:30 a.m. Berlin. Unfortunately, for the first 15 minutes and 50 seconds, the BBC couldn't get their camera or microphone to work, so Dickon was actually sending me questions via Skype Messenger, and we were working on my laptop here. At 15:50, they got the microphone to work, so we can, at that point, actually hear Dickon and his questions, but they never got the camera to work, so we still don't know what Dickon looks like. Anyway, all by the by, obviously, or presumably, the BBC will edit their recording to fit what they want to produce. This is the complete thing. There's no editing on this at all. It's exactly as it happened. Everything is there. The only thing I've changed is I added a picture to this background here, so it's a little less boring than staring at a green screen for 24 minutes. Anyway, contact details, questions, whatever you need, come at the end of the video. Do drop us a line. We're there for you. We want to help you achieve what you want to achieve, where you want to be. Enjoy life. Thank you. Keep smiling. It's good for you. Okay, the Harmony technology is basically functions on the principle of the dielectricum. Now, a dielectricum is an electron mirror. Now, we're used to glass mirrors which reflect photons. A dielectricum reflects electrons. Okay, this is a well-known procedure in physics. However, what we've done, or more specifically Joachim Wagner, the engineer who invented the technology, has done, is to work out a methodology of building up a dielectricum in several different layers, and within each layer is crystallized several hundred I can't think of the English word, non-conductive coils and condensers, and then three-dimensionally connected them. And what that then gives you is a device which will correct the oscillation frequency of the electron information structure. Sounds complicated. It's very, very different to everything that mankind has had to date, which is why it's quite difficult to explain. I mean, normally you come across something new and you say, well, it's like that, but better, or it's one of those in a different colour. You can't do that with the Harmony technology. I mean, it took me 6 years to get my head around it. So any question that begins with, is it like, the answer is no. So you can only explain it from the ground upwards. So the usefulness of this technology, and the reason why it's so universally applicable in many fields. It started off making car engines work better, and then went on to other things. And then when I came across it back in 2001, I've been told by one of my patients that this was the most fantastic thing ever. Now, professionally, in all the hearing professions, we get masses of junk email every week, or nowadays every day, for one sort of so-called miracle device or another, most of which don't work. It's just taking cash for nothing. Occasionally you'll come across one that does something for a specific group of people for a particular time, but one that actually does what the manufacturer claims is never heard of. So I did actually buy one after she badgered me for months about it, to prove to her that such things don't work, and I discovered it does. By correcting the informational structure of the electron stream, what that causes is that any system, it doesn't matter whether it's mechanical or biological, any system is based upon the frequency or the accuracy of the frequency of the electrons in the system. So the electrons participate in atoms, the atoms participate in molecules, the molecules participate in a biological system, in proteins, proteins participate in cells, cells participate in organs, etc., etc. Mechanical system, you've got exactly the same thing. The electrons form compounds, form metals, shapes, engine of your car, your brakes, whatever. There's no particular difference. And all that the harmony technology does is apply this minimal correction. It corrects any perturbing frequencies which has disturbed the precision of the electron. That's it. Nothing more is really necessary, because any system knows of itself how to perfectly function. And if you just allow it to do so, give it the wherewithal to perfectly function, it will naturally do it. You don't have to do anything more than that. You know, if you've got a lack of oxygen, supply oxygen, and suddenly you can breathe again. Or if your mouth is so dry that you can't talk, drink some water, your mouth works again. It's just the same with the energy around you. If the energy is pure and clear, which is why if you lay on a beach in the tropics for a couple of weeks, you feel empowered because there's so little disruptive energy around you. There's no electrosmog, or maybe a tiny little bit. There's no advertising. There's none of this rubbish that surrounds us all the time. It's just not there, which is, you know, why you feel recharged, and you're just taking up pure sun energy, or maybe a little bit of wave energy from the water. Then body needs that as well. But in a normal civilization in a city, it's very difficult. You're being bombarded with this informational junk, this electronic junk the whole time, and your body tends to suffer. It's a well-known phenomenon, and all that the technology does is, by correcting the electron frequency, it takes the electrons out of resonance with the junk, so that the junk no longer has any effect on you. That's all that we do, and that's why the technology is not system-specific, because all it's doing is correcting whatever information is already present in the system. It can't add anything, it can't remove anything. The system does the rest itself once it's got the wherewithal to function optimally. Okay, do we have another question? Let's have a look. Is there any evidence that it works? Well, a very great deal, but even that is begging the question, because the way in which it works is something which is one of the basic building blocks of modern physics, the electron frequency oscillations. You can show with, for example, an oscilloscope that the chaos is removed from, shall we say, an electric cable by putting one of the devices on it, because it's taking the resonance with the junk out, and then the system just works properly the way it's supposed to do. There's tests which have been done in a research institute in Austria with using humans and electrosmog with mobile phones. Dramatic reduction in the way the body adversely reacts to the electrosmog for the phone. The phone is still fully functional, but the body no longer reacts adversely to it, to the radiations, because they've been taken out of resonance. What about studies scientific proof? Very good question. Who's going to study it? Who's going to pay for it? Now, the sort of things that you're asking for here are very, very expensive. You're talking about £100,000 plus. You're thinking possibly in terms of the way in which so-called medicines are tested, and it is very, very expensive. This is one of the ways in which the pharmaceutical cartel keeps its monopoly, by making it so expensive for anything else to pass their tests, not reasonable tests, but their tests, that it's just not on for most businesses to do it. However, this is not relevant to the Harmony technology because it's not doing anything in a medical sense at all. The medicine attacks symptoms. All that we're doing is providing clean energy which allows your body to function the way it's supposed to. Now, what else we got here? The charge, though, is that this doesn't work. Well, who says it doesn't work? We have a 6-month money-back guarantee, unrestricted right of return, and we get 4 or 5 pieces a month returns to us out of a few thousand. It's not a problem. We give them their money back, and that's it. So if thousands of people are not returning them, we must presume that they are satisfied with results, on top of which we have a lot of testimonials, a great many of which are not published. People saying what they've achieved through using the technology. So the charge that it doesn't work, I would have to say, well, okay, where's your proof? Where's your tests? Where have you purchased our technology and tested it? In what way have you tested it? Where's your evidence? Our evidence is comprehensive. It works. And this is why I got involved in the first place, because I found that with my patients, it works. It's as simple as that. I'm an absolute empiricist. If something works, use it. If it doesn't, junk it. This works, so I use it. So I also recommend it. So if somebody's saying, well, it doesn't work, show me your evidence. And it's expensive. Well, I don't know how you come across this idea. A device which is universally applicable, that's guaranteed to function for at least 10 years. And the restriction is only there because in a number of countries you're not allowed by law to guarantee a product for more than 10 years. I'm not quite sure what the UK situation is, but anyway, we made it a 10-year standard. Theory is your grandchildren can inherit it and still use it. Practices, we just don't know. The first functioning prototypes that were made in September 1989, they're still functioning 100%. So that's all the hard evidence we have on that, on the how long it can be used. So from 1989 to 2013, still working perfectly. So something that you're talking about a one-time investment. You're not talking about every month or every 3 months. You're talking about a one-time investment for something which you can just keep using and using and using. It never wears out. There's no battery to go flat because it doesn't need any power. The only power that's needed to work it is the informational energy already present in the system with which it's being used. It doesn't need any more. It doesn't need any purification because it doesn't store anything. So for what you're getting there, it's incredibly cheap. It's far from uncommon for the investment to actually show a profit because of the spin-off benefits that people get from using it. I mean, there's something I experienced myself. The spin-off benefits have increased my income in other areas. So, expensive? No, definitely not. You could be accused of preying on vulnerable people. Well, how? With a 6-month right of return, with a comprehensive backup and advisory system. Again, show me your evidence and I'll look at it. But a wild accusation with no evidence is no use to anyone at all. They also said that they hadn't seen any evidence that it could increase health and performance. Well, I never said it did. That's something that they've invented. One of the spin-offs of using this technology, because it allows your body to work much better, is that your body will then itself work better. We're not doing it, your body is doing it. All we're doing is we're allowing your body to do it. I mean, you know, give your body junk food, it doesn't work very well. Give it high quality food, it works better. Give it junk water, dirty water, it doesn't work very well. Give it perfect water, works much better. Same with the air that you breathe. And it's also the same with the energy which impinges upon your body. If it's full of junk, your body won't work very well. If it's pure and ordered, your body will work better. That's all we're doing. We're supplying you with, through contact with, well, not even necessarily through contact, there are devices which work in the room. We're supplying you with energy which your body can use to function properly.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Singh?
Ah, sound, we have sound. Wonderful.
Great, thank you. Our BBC engineers have worked their miracle. Thank you for this. Nice talking to you. Can I switch the subject a bit and ask about cancer? What you believe cancer to be, and how you heal it?
Okay, this is interesting because back in 2005 I was actually asked by a cancer self-help group in England to write a handbook for their members. Initially I didn't want to, and then I realised that most of what they wanted I'd already got filed in my computer, and all I needed to do was to stitch it together, which of course I did do, which is why the book, the way it is at the moment, looks like a pile of documents that have been sewn together. And they rejected it because, you know, pharmaceutical medicine was not mentioned as a useful technique in cancer. Now in 2009 I came into contact with Dr. Leonard Caldwell, who has also written a book, rather better written I would say. It's called The Only Answer to Cancer. He runs a cancer clinic in the US, and his record in 2009 was from 20,000 patients he'd lost 230. In 2010, 2011 I came into contact with a number of other people who also have very, very high success rates. And the fascinating thing is all of us, completely independent from each other, have developed exactly the same system. Now, cancer is not a disease. It is an emergency solution for a problem. Cancer is one of the ways in which your body can reduce a very high level of toxicity by focusing toxins in particular parts of the body. These are what we call tumours. Now if you look at a cancer cell, it has a tremendous similarity to certain types of fungi. This is no accident. Because the way in which the planet's natural recycling system works is that that which is ejected from the human body will naturally go into the ground and will be processed by these fungi to make food for the plants, which we then eat, and so on. So it keeps going around and around and around. However, if you have a state where you have very high levels of technology and for some reason the body's natural detoxification systems aren't working properly, then many bodies have the ability to create a sort of fungus type cell which can then consume these toxins and convert them into something much less harmful. So cancer is your friend. It keeps you alive in a state of high toxicity. What that tells you, however, is, hey, there's a big problem here that you've got to work with. You've got to find out where the toxicity is coming from, and nowadays it's usually the nutrition. You've got to work out why your normal detoxification systems aren't working properly, and you've got to correct them. This is basically all that I and Dr. Caldwell and others do. We look at this person, we work out, okay, where are they getting these toxins from? Why isn't the body ejecting them? And then we work on these problems. Now, when the toxins are no longer present, your body no longer needs these special cells and will just take them apart itself. It works. That's all one can say. It works.
I take your point, but it's a very contentious claim, Mr. Singh. You must be aware of the Cancer Act, which says you can't take any part in the publication of any advertising offering treatment, prescribing remedies, or giving advice on the treatment of cancer. And on your website, I wonder if you do those things.
I would say not, because cancer as such isn't mentioned on the Harm United website. The only website that mentions cancer is the website for the book Cancer So What?
Indeed, but you're involved with that website, aren't you, which says, you know, medicine is not an appropriate technique for dealing with cancer. I mean,
yes,
these are quite contentious claims that people with cancer might find offensive.
Well, again, if you find truth offensive, that's, you know, in the ear of the hearer. It's not, the facts are there. If you find the facts offensive, then you must look, why do I find truth offensive?
But you're not allowed under law to offer treatments, prescribe remedies, or give advice on the treatment of cancer, are you?
I have to look into the actual wording of the Act, but if memory,
that is the wording.
If memory serves, it says something like it's an offence to what's the word? What's the English word? To advise someone to not take medical treatment. That I don't know.
What it says is, and I'm quoting it from the Act, you cannot take any part in the publication of any adverts offering to treat, prescribe remedies, or give advice on the treatment of cancer. That's the exact wording of the Cancer Act 1939.
Give advice on cancer? No, that I think you're misquoting it there somewhere, because giving advice on cancer, anyone can do that. That is not.
It's giving advice on the treatment of cancer.
Well, if you look at it in the medical sense, now medicine attacks the cancer, it attacks the solution, it doesn't deal with the problem. What Dr. Colwell does and I do, we look at what's the real problem, how do we resolve the real problem. The problem isn't the cancer, the problem is what has caused your body to react by producing a cancer. It's a completely different world. We're not in the world of medicine, we're in the world of healing.
Okay, that's great, that's all I have to ask. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Nothing occurs to me at this minute. Any idea when this is likely to be published?
Not sure yet, still working on it, but I'll let you know when it goes out. It's for local radio and local TV.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Okay, so maybe your friends in London will want to look at it for some national interviews, because there's a lot of stuff to be said here. There are a lot of stuff which has been suppressed for many decades. Which is directly damaging to health, and this is what the magazine What Doctors Don't Tell You is about. It's about bringing this to the light, about telling people how easy it is to be healthy, by not through medicine, but by correcting the problems which are causing the symptoms. You know, this is the way we've got to go forward in healthcare. This is the reason why so-called healthcare is so vastly expensive and achieves almost nothing. But if you go to the true healing, you reduce the costs by at least 70, more likely 90%, and you get a much higher level of effectiveness. What we're all about, all of us about, is returning this knowledge to humanity.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much for your time, Mr. Singh. Appreciate that.
Thanks, bye.